OCD is it doesn't affect your genuine desires. What it does is it tries to distract you from your pursuit of your genuine desires. So, to me, it doesn't matter whether or not you should or shouldn't have a child. It matters if you want to. OCD will find reasons why you shouldn't, and it will do a damn good job, and it will be endless. But it will never interfere with, do you want to or don't you want to? And that's one of the things I like about the disorder, is it doesn't interfere with the genuine human being that's, really above the OCD.
Well, what if it's your partner that's fearing it? What if it's your partner who's saying, I'm afraid that this child's going to have OCD? So you're talking about somebody who doesn't have.
Well, I think that, like someone else said, that whether the child gets OCD or has other forms of nuttiness, your child's going to be a nut, like I am.
Right. Yeah.
So, we'll have zero birth rate if we have to give birth to children who aren't nuts. We're going to have, minus, because children will be born and they're all nuts. Just to go on, I just want to say one more thing, that I used to say that OCs had problems with risk-taking, and that's not true. It's only in the particular area of the obsessional concern that the risk-taking exists. One of my clients engaged in parachuting, and she loved whitewater rafting. This is risk-taking.
Yeah, right.
She wouldn't touch a doorknob, but she would go on a raft in a Class 4 river and drown. So it's not a matter of risk-taking. It's just in the particular area that the brain has centered out. And that's really important, because then you get into things like, low sin me, I'm not a risk taker. That's not the issue at all. But anyway, another treatment. I have a person say, "Let it be there," as a response to the obsessive spike. And one sort of mental game that I try to get people to play is I call it the mind hotel. One of my clients, he had a very unique spike. His spikes was looking for a name. If a name popped into his head that he wasn't aware of, that he said, I should know this name. If I don't, that means maybe I'm losing my memory, maybe I'm going crazy. So he would experience tremendous anxiety at the idea that he doesn't know a name, and he would ruminate looking for what that name is. What I would do with him is have him write down what the spike is. And hopefully it's one of these good names that he can't find right off the bat, or ask his wife to answer for him. And I would say to him, your objective is to get as many occupants in your mind hotel as possible, and each spike represents one occupant. Excuse me. Because the mind can deal with looking for 3 names, or maybe 4 names, but when your hotel has 10 names in it, forget it. The mind says, I quit. And then as your new spikes come, it becomes overwhelming. That's called flooding. If I take a person with contamination OC, and I thought of this afternoon, taking one of those spritzers, those plant spritzers, and filling it with toilet water from the toilet, and going around their apartment like this, which I've basically done in an 8-hour day.
I'm never going to go too over.
Yeah, definitely. That's why people don't like shaking my hand. So I'm always touching the bottom of my shoe, eating candy off the floor. If I do that, sure, and a lot worse than that.
I'm not talking about the house.
Yeah.
If in a store, if you saw a candy.
I could. I don't do it because I want the candy. I do it to demonstrate. It's called modeling.
Mind over matter.
Kind of. You never ask a client to do anything that you're not willing to do. And that's another way you're seeing a behaviorist. Because if he says to you, go to a train station with an axe on your elbow, he better be willing to do that himself. And so I always model everything that I ask a client to do myself.
They're being trailed.
And I've done some funny. I did stand-up comedy one night because I was working at a stage phobic, and it's like, okay, I'm asking you to do it, so I'll do it. So anyway, letting it be there, creating mental space for it, because if you can say to yourself, I still have that question, then you're really doing well. The problem with his spikes is that that resource part of the brain would just naturally find his spikes. And so what I did for him with homework was get him to play Trivial Pursuit. A wonderful way of getting someone who spikes about ambiguity and questions to get questions. Watch Jeopardy each night. Watch The Wheel of Fortune. These are things that he had loved that he completely stopped doing because they became spiking material. And so now he's doing it and he's enjoying it with his wife. A very important response to spikes is creating 3 or 4 larger ones to the one that you have. If I have a spike, oh my God, maybe I hit someone while driving to work, I better turn around and check for dead bodies or call a police station or call hospitals to see whether anyone was reported with a hit and run. I would respond to that spike by saying, yeah, I knocked over my entire neighborhood probably. When I return tonight, there's just going to be piles of bodies all over the place. Let's see how many more people I can knock out on the way to work. To increase the ante of that which your brain produces. Because your neocortex is a lot brighter than your OCD. And you will always be able to one-up it. And that's something else I like about it, OCD, is the disorder is simple and simplistic, but it plays its game but with very nasty rules. And if you don't understand the rules, you're going to lose time after time after time. And so that door I was talking to you about, the anxiety says, choose this door, you're going to escape anxiety right away, go through it. And so the person engages in the ritual. The door that you don't see in this maze of how can I get out of the anxiety is the one that says, this door will expose you to more anxiety. This door says, do nothing, don't escape, stay with it. And that's the last door anyone ever thinks about, when they have an anxiety disorder. That's the door I get people to really go through over and over and over again.
I just want to say one thing on that, and you're exactly right, but the reason being for everyone else is there's light at the end of the tunnel with that route. With the route that you choose to keep on going through with the obsession, through the compulsions, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You're just going to feel anxiety, and the next thought's going to come, and you're going to go through the ritual again, and it's going to be repeated. But by choosing the harder door, by making a choice to fight, it may be harder, but in the end, there's light, and at the end, there's peace.
I agree with you. I think that if you told someone that who had a spike, that would be like telling the cigarette smoker, this is going to give you cancer 10 years from now.
I say this over Yale, and with a room full of OCD people, and they throw rocks at me.
Yeah. Because you know what you're doing? And when in my groups, when a new person comes in and they hear someone else's disorder and they say, that's nuts.
Yeah, right.
I hear that all the time. Then they start using logic to try, like an analyst might do, to try to explain the irrationality of it. It sort of has a very negative, effect because the person already realizes that to a certain degree. And what you got to do is get them right at the moment to create that discomfort and be with it. They know that the light at the end of the tunnel. They're willing to spritz toilet water all around their house and live with that. There's going to be, freedom. They know that it's just, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to take that risk? And some people, they say no, and I say, okay, for the next few months, all we're going to be doing is eating candy on the floor. Touching doorknobs.
I'm trying to understand. I don't understand. I understand why you do it, because you're trying to help your patient, but it's like going into a public restroom and sitting on a toilet.
Yeah.
See, it's like
and only women don't do that.
But people that do not have OCD, it's the common sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like a person that doesn't have OCD, like that would be a clinic,
The way
where do you draw the line?
No, I don't. What I say to people is that with this disorder, people say to me, well, now you're asking me to do things that no one else does. And this is absurd and this is stupid. And I say, look, this is like a metal pole that's bent in a direction you don't want it to be. If you know anything about the properties of metal, you can't get it to point straight up and down by bending it straight up and down. You've got to go further. You've got to push it to the extreme. And I can say to someone who's not